So, on the 50s, it started the concept of the buffer stock. And the good thing for Mr. Trucker here is that he could pick from him, deliver to her, and also deliver to all of you, your customers. Okay? So it was very good for him. On the 50s, we started to have the concepts and the foment of the ocean and air freight market. Europe and the US, they had railroads on their blood since the 17th century. But they started really to use the railroad on the 50s after this evolution of the market, after the Second World War. And curiosity here, on 1956, a guy invented the ocean container. If you saw a vessel before the 50s, it was incredible. All this stuff would go inside the vessel without a container. It was a big mess, like the mess we had in the airports here, like with our luggage. It was a big mess. And this market at this time it was about 30 billion. So remember, 10 billion, 30 billion here. Mr. Trucker was making out about 30 billion euros in revenue, only like a transporting thing. No logistics so far, no supply chain, pure transportation. Okay? Okay, so you have the 60s. Okay? A lot of drugs, sex, but and you also had people thinking on different ways of doing things. Rock and roll. Yeah. The point of sales for Cecilia to multiply by 10. The economy started to grow in the US, in Europe. So Cecilia, that small warehouse that she had for her customers, she was not enough. So she needed, and you are in the US. Let's suppose Cecilia is in Minnesota, okay? So and she used it to sell for customers in the neighborhood. Now she's selling to Chicago, Houston, Miami. So she needed to have like smaller buffer stocks in different regions. That comes from Mr. Trucker. What he says, look, Cecilia, I have some warehouses in the US, and you know you have a problem. Let me offer that. You can bring your cargo from your big warehouse, and I can take that cargo for you, put in my smaller warehouse, and distribute that for you in the areas you have customers. Another money for Mr. Trucker. So it's when we started to have the concept of distribution centers. Okay, everything you see here, when it's a picture, is still Cecilia business. I'm not making money. He's not making money on that. Everything that you see from now on the flip chart, reels, pictures like that, it's when he is making money on that. Okay? So we started the concept of distribution centers and inventory management, because Cecilia needed to know on his different distribution center what is inside that distribution center and that distribution center. So this guy needed to tell her what is inside the distribution centers. He needed to have the control. So it was not only transporting things, he needed to have the control of her material inside his distribution centers. It started to become complicated for him.
I needed a dock, a ship, warehouses, and a pen and a piece of paper.
Exactly. Excel and PowerPoint, not yet, not in the series. And Cecilia, the factory, it started to have a lot of suppliers as well. So we started with the concept what we call inbound service. Back in the 70s, I'm going to explain that in a while. And Mr. Trucker was now inbounding cargo for her, outbound to their warehouse, with the distribution centers, and with the transportation to the customers. The market that used to be 50 is now about 8 billion euros. In like 10 years, it went like more than 30%. On the 70s, you started to have more suppliers. And someone needed to control, and you're getting crazy, because he was delivering like a lot of it, and you had a lot of truckers here, not only company. I suppose you have not. So you had like different trucks delivering to your place like 10 times, 30 times a day. So you're getting mad, and you had to hire people only to control the inbound of the cargo that you had. So Mr. Trucker said, look, Cecilia, I have a solution for you. Instead of doing all this, instead of hiring all these trucks, let me do the following for you, and having like 300 deliveries a day in your factory that you have to hire like 300 people only for this. Let me do the following. I'm going to create for you an inbound warehouse. So I'm going to consolidate on my warehouse, and you tell me how many mics you need to do per day, and I'm going to deliver you the quantity you need per day. So you don't get crazy in your factory. Okay? So Mr. Trucker, make money again with the inbound warehouse. Remember that warehouse that you had? Remember that you had a warehouse here and then the distribution center there? Mr. Trucker said, let me handle that for you. You don't need to have a warehouse. I can handle your warehouse here as well. More money for Mr. Trucker. So Mr. Trucker now, Mr. Trucker now, he started to make suppliers planning. Look, it was not only picking up the cargo from your suppliers. He was planning the pick. He started, let's suppose now you're not the customer, now you are the suppliers, okay? He started to plan the route to pick the cargo from your suppliers. So he could save money for you with this collection of cargo. So it's not only that he is making money, but you're saving a lot of money too. And that was an idea. That was an idea from Mr. Truck gave you this idea. So it's my point here is that this evolution that you see here is that Mr. Truck thought outside the box. Let me see what my customer needs. Where's the pain here, and let me try to bring a solution to that. So we started with this supply planning on the inbound, income consolidation centers, inventory management, not only the inventory management for your outbound, but for your inbound as well. And the market is started to be around 120 billion euros for Mr. Truck. It is rich now. It's becoming very rich. 80s, more complicated. 80s it's the beginning for us. I mean, for the transportation market. It started the globalization concept, because Cecilia was not only buying from Facundo, but she was buying from many places from around. She was buying from Japan, from Brazil, from Mexico, she was buying from many places, because her microphone now is fantastic. The technology improved it. Facundo was not enough for her. She wanted more. She wanted more.
Let's change the logistics. Let's forget about translation.
So she wanted more. And then what Mr. Trucker said, hey, if Cecilia is buying from other countries, why don't I buy a vessel or an airplane? Oh, I can't buy a vessel or airplane. I don't have money. But I know people who has vessels and airplanes, so I'm going to kind of being an agent for this vessel. So I'm going to buy space on this vessel for Cecilia and for my other customers. So this guy here started to be a freight forwarder. You probably have heard about this name before. He started not to be on a transportation company, but he started to be a freight forwarder. Okay? But the 80s, the Japanese, Toyota. 80s was very good for our market here because of international supply. But the big change on the 80s was not for us, they were for the customer, for the industry. It's the Japanese invented all this stuff that we have today. Still today. That what we call the inside logistics. The US and Europe, the producers, the manufacturers of cars, I'm getting cars as an example, because Toyota is a very good example.